let's just say it's been popularized lately by a few people out there on the internet about hustle and grind.
Right.
My statement is hustle and grind is the new stupid.
Hey there, and welcome to a brand new episode of Delivering Marketing Joy. I'm your host, Kirby Hausman, and joining me today, a brand new rock star, super intrigued to dig into this conversation today. He's the founder and chairman of Action Coach Business Coaching. Brad Sugars, thanks so much for joining me, man.
G'day, good to be here. Really excited to chat.
Absolutely. So we'll start with sort of the, what gets you fired up question. And it's, what project are you working on right now that has you totally fired up, and why?
It's two of them, actually. We just bought a share of an environmental mining company. So it actually does environmental monitoring for mining companies. So it's become legislation that, a lot of construction sites and mining sites have to have monitoring of the environment. So from noise to dust to all that sort of stuff. So that one's really huge. Got me very fired up because it's such a massive market that is going to be legally required as we move forward. And the other is we just started our own fund. So we're out buying companies through a fund now, not just using my own money. Now we're actually doing it with other people's as well, and leveraging the power of what we do. So
that's really
lots
cool.
of fun.
Yeah, those are projects that are worthy of being fired up about. So that's really cool. That's cool. And obviously, you are the founder and chairman of Action Coach. So we're going to talk about a couple of things that maybe would help people kind of level up. So what's something that you recommend people start doing today to make their life, whether it's personal or business, what's something they can do to make their life better?
Become better. Read, learn, study, mentor, coach, join a group of 2 or 3, but everyone sets the goals. I go back to my formula for success: dream, goal, learn, plan, act. You got to have big dreams to start with. You got to turn dreams into goals. From there, you got to decide you're learning. And that's really the more important one of the 5 stages, because once you know what the goal is, you got to grow into it. So if you could have achieved the goal now, you would have. You can't achieve it. That's what I always go back to when I was 16 and I said, I'm going to retire financially at 25. And my friend's dad sat us both down and taught me how that can't happen and it won't happen. And what he didn't realize, he was technically correct. The 16-year-old version of me could not have made that a reality. But the 26-year-old version of me made it a reality. So that was the good thing. So
yeah, I love that, Brad. It's funny, man, we are kindred spirits, because I do a piece of content called the Monday Minute. And literally this week, I dropped one that talked about becoming the person you need to be to achieve your goal, right? So like today, I can't run a marathon. Yeah. But if I start working toward it, it can happen. So I love that. That's a great piece of advice.
Simple formula: be times do equals have. No more complex than that. Or work it backwards. Have equals do times be. So, if you don't be the right, you can't do the right, which you can't have the right. Be average, do average, have average. Not complex stuff. But unless you learn it, like to me now as version 51, Brad, I understand that. Version 16, Brad, didn't quite understand that. So,
man. And, I heard something this morning where they said that the closer you get to the truth, the more simple the lesson becomes.
The old Einstein saying, if you can't teach it simply, you probably don't know it well enough to be teaching it. So paraphrasing, of course, paraphrasing.
Yeah, that's great. So speaking of advice, right? What is a piece of advice you hear all the time that you think is wrong?
Well, let's just say it's been popularized lately by a few people out there on the internet about hustle and grind.
Right.
My statement is hustle and grind is the new stupid. I remember as a young man, now I did it. I did the hustle and grind because I thought that was the right way. Right. But what it did is me working 16-hour days, 6-day weeks, sleeping in my office. It was really what I did by doing all of that work is I covered up the mistakes in the business. I worked so hard that I didn't actually look for proper solutions. By working harder, I didn't find the right way to do it. And so where my marketing wasn't working properly, but I would do so many hours on sales and do such volume of marketing, I could overcome the fact that it wasn't working properly. So I keep coming back to that, and it's tempting as a business owner or as a business person to just dive in deeper and harder than it is to use this thing and find a proper solution type thing. And so, I always look back to it now as I had to learn it, but I'm hoping I can help other people learn it faster by teaching them that all of these people out there telling you that, you got to do the hustle and grind thing. I'm not sure that they're doing anything other than justifying the fact that that's the way they did it.
Yeah, it's an interesting dichotomy though, right? Like, because I'll be the first to say I'm guilty of that sometimes too. And I think that one of the challenges is it's the one thing I can control. And so, but on the other side, I think it goes to that difference of working in your business, not on your business. Like if you're working in your business, you can work a million hours, but if you can spend an hour working on your business, sometimes you can have a greater impact. And I think maybe that's sort of what you're talking about, right?
Look, my definition of a business is different to most, though, Kirby. Mine is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. So if you've got to work there, I go back to, I always thought I worked for an idiot before I started my own business. Let's be blunt about it. If you are the owner and you are the hardest working person in your business, you're doing something wrong. If business isn't fun, you're doing something wrong. Now, it might be not fun because you've hired the wrong people, or you haven't learned management, or you haven't learned systemization, or you haven't learned leadership, and so therefore your people are not doing the right work, or you haven't learned marketing, therefore you're not getting enough inbound business, you're not getting enough repeat business. So all of those things. If you want to run a great business, you got to become a great business person.
Love that. Yeah. Okay, I want to go off script just for a second, just because it's something I want to ask you kind of separate, but you are a founder of Action Business Coaching. Why? What inspired you to do that? And, kind of what got you on that track?
Was definitely not inspiration. It was, I was in my early 20s. Rob Kiyosaki asked me to become a speaker at some of his events, and he's obviously very famous now. He and Sharon did the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and many others. And I started speaking, and I was like, damn, this is amazing. I get to travel the world. They pay me, and I get to stand up on stage and people applaud me. This is phenomenal. This is fun, because I was doing such great marketing things, because when I learned that I had to be a great marketer, I just started doing such amazing marketing, and people wanted to learn it. So I traveled teaching that, and people kept coming up to me at the end of it saying, hey, can you help us? Can you help us? Can you help us? And I was a little bit slow on the uptake. It took about 100 people asking me if they could pay me money before I finally realized, hey, maybe I should start a business doing this thing where people are asking. Like when people are begging you to buy something from you, it's probably a smart idea to say yes,
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Okay, cool stuff.
So yeah, now we're 30 years old as a company, or in August we'll be 30 years old as a company. We're in 81 countries. We have 1,100 and something offices around the world. And
it's amazing.
We get to do a lot of fun things.
That's cool. All right. Final question, man. This is cool. What are some tips, and you've given some, but what are some tips for growing both personally and professionally?
Look, get around the right people, whether that's a mentor, a mastermind group, a coach, whatever it is, but get around the right people. Challenge yourself. There is no such thing as status quo in business. Your business is either growing or dying, same as a tree. It's the second law of thermonuclear dynamics. You can't stop growing. You have to be growing. So you as a person and your business will only grow to your level of incompetence. So the moment you stop learning is the moment your business stops growing. Set such goals that it inspires and enrolls others to be a part of the business with you. Set something that others want to be a part of and want to do it. And so by building that team, but in the end, it's really to grow a great business, you got to build great people who build a great business. You can't do it on your own. If you build people, they build the business. And I think that's what's a big part of our success at Action Coach is exactly that. We recruit great people, we recruit good and make great. That's always been our motto is, recruit good, make great, and therefore they'll build a great company for us.
That's awesome. This is really cool. Brad, thank you for taking the time. Where can somebody find a little bit more information about you?
Google. Usually find me there.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Or bradsugars.com or actioncoach.com. We make it pretty easy for people to find us on every single social media platform. So
That's cool. All right. Well, Brad, thank you so much for taking the time. I'd love to do it again sometime. Okay.
Perfect.
Cool. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.